People think that once you have money, you just buy everything you couldn't afford before. The newest gadgets, the trendiest clothes, the most expensive versions of everything. But here's what no one tells you. The people who actually keep wealth, who quietly grow it over time, don't live that way. In fact, the wealthy avoid buying a lot of things you probably assume they'd be first in line for. Why? Because real wealth isn't loud. It's strategic. It's intentional. And most importantly, it's not built by spending money just because you can. So let's get into it. Here are the things wealthy people avoid buying, even when they could afford them 10 times over. Number 1, they avoid trendy fashion. You know what the rich aren't doing? Chasing fast fashion. They're not hopping on every seasonal trend or buying the latest limited edition streetwear drop. Wealthy people understand something most don't. Fashion is temporary, but style is permanent. They often invest in a few quality, timeless pieces. Clothes that fit well, last long, and don't scream for attention. Not because they're trying to be boring, but because they've learned that loud wardrobes often signal insecurity, not wealth. So while everyone else is chasing logos, the wealthy are wearing the same jacket from 5 years ago and still looking sharp. Number 2, they don't buy brand new cars, often. A car is one of the fastest depreciating assets you can buy, and the wealthy know this. That's why you'll find more millionaires driving used Toyotas and Hondas than brand new luxury cars. It's not that they can't afford a new car, it's that they know it's not a smart use of capital. Many wealthy individuals will buy a reliable vehicle, maintain it well, and keep it for years, because they understand that money spent on flash is money that isn't growing somewhere else. And honestly, most of them don't care if anyone's impressed. That's how you know they've made it. Number 3, they avoid constantly upgrading tech. The latest phone, the newest laptop, the upgraded tablet, it's tempting. But the wealthy resist that temptation far more than you'd expect. They don't upgrade just to upgrade. If the device still works, they keep using it. Not because they can't afford the new model, but because they don't chase new for the sake of it. They see tech for what it is, a tool, not a status symbol. That means using something until it no longer serves its purpose, not until the next product launch. Number 4, they avoid oversized homes. Yes, some rich people buy big houses, but the quiet wealthy, the kind who stay rich for decades, often avoid going overboard. They know that with every extra room comes extra cleaning, higher taxes, higher maintenance costs, and more energy use. More space doesn't always mean more peace. In fact, many wealthy people downsize intentionally. They choose homes that fit their lifestyle, not their ego. They don't need a 10-bedroom mansion to feel successful. They just need a space that works and doesn't work against their financial freedom. Number 5, they don't chase status purchases. Here's the thing. Wealthy people already know they're wealthy. They don't feel the need to prove it to anyone. That's why they'll pass on the VIP package, the first-class upgrade, or the overpriced bottle at dinner. Not always, but often enough to notice a pattern. They understand that these things are designed to make you feel rich, not be rich. The real rich don't need the illusion. They've got the substance. Number 6, they avoid high-interest debt at all costs. This isn't a purchase in the traditional sense, but it's one of the biggest money traps out there. Wealthy people avoid credit card debt like it's poison, because in a way, it is. While most people casually swipe and carry balances, the rich either pay it off in full or don't carry it at all. They know that paying 20% interest just to buy something faster is a losing game. Instead, they use credit strategically, if at all. Often it's for rewards, not because they don't have the cash. They've trained themselves to delay gratification, and it's made them wealthier because of it. Number 7, they avoid clutter and convenience purchases. You won't find wealthy people loading up on unnecessary kitchen gadgets, trinkets, or piles of things they'll never use. They avoid clutter, not just because it fills space, but because it drains mental energy and money. Impulse purchases at checkout? Random TikTok items that promise to change your life? No thanks. The wealthy prefer utility, simplicity. They're more likely to ask, "Do I actually need this?" before they buy. It sounds obvious, but most people don't pause to ask that question. Wealthy people do. Number 8, they avoid extended warranties and extras. You know all those upsells people get hit with? Extended warranties, extra features, extra insurance, special memberships? The wealthy often skip them. Not because they're cheap, but because they've done the math. They know that most extended warranties go unused, that extra features often add little value, that the peace of mind being sold is usually just padding someone else's profit margins. They're willing to pay for real value, but they're not paying just to feel safe. Smart money moves quietly. and it doesn't get tricked at checkout. Number 9, they don't constantly upgrade their lifestyle. This one separates the rich from the broke with a high income. The wealthy avoid lifestyle creep, the trap where your spending increases every time your income does. Instead of trading up every time they get a raise, they hold the line. They keep their expenses steady while their income grows. That gap between what they earn and what they spend, that's where wealth lives. Most people never get rich because every new dollar earned is a new dollar spent. The wealthy reverse that cycle, and that's how they stay rich. Number 10, they avoid buying things that own them. This one's subtle but powerful. The wealthy avoid purchases that come with too much responsibility, too much upkeep, or too many strings attached. They don't want to be owned by their stuff. That's why they think twice before buying boats, complicated cars, giant homes, or anything that needs constant managing. If it costs more in stress than it does in dollars, they usually pass. Freedom matters more to them than flash, and ownership without peace is just a trap with nicer walls. Number 11, they avoid buying just because it's on sale. This is a habit most people don't realize is costing them money. Something being 40% off doesn't make it a good purchase if you didn't need it in the first place. Wealthy people understand this. They're not fooled by discounts. They don't buy things just because the price is lower than usual. They buy what they already plan to buy, regardless of whether it's on sale or not. It's a subtle mindset shift, but it's the difference between spending smart and spending emotionally. Number 12, they don't buy to escape. Many people spend money just to feel something, to cope, to avoid boredom or pain. But wealthy people don't buy to escape. They deal with reality directly. They invest in rest, in therapy, in self-awareness, but they don't use shopping as a distraction. That's the difference. They process their emotions. They don't swipe them away. That's the wealth mindset. Number 13, they avoid turning every purchase into a reward. One of the biggest traps people fall into, especially when they start earning more, is using spending as a form of emotional validation. I worked hard. I deserve this. It's been a rough week. I've earned a treat. Sound familiar? But wealthy people don't reward themselves with purchases nearly as often as you think. They don't treat every emotional high or low like a shopping opportunity. That doesn't mean they're cold or deprived. It means they've built a healthier relationship with money. They understand that if you tie spending to emotions, you'll never stop. Every good moment becomes an excuse to splurge, and every bad moment becomes a justification to treat yourself. Over time, that pattern creates a cycle where happiness and money are constantly chasing each other, but never quite syncing up. Instead, the wealthy learn to celebrate in ways that don't sabotage their future. A walk, a meal with friends, time off, a journal entry. They find joy in non-financial ways. They invest in experiences, relationships, or rest, not just stuff. They've redefined what it means to feel rich, and that's why their money stretches further. Here's the truth. The wealthy don't avoid buying these things because they're cheap. They avoid them because they're smart. They've learned that the way you spend money is just as important as how much of it you have. They understand that not buying something can be just as powerful as making a good investment. That real freedom isn't in showing off, it's in saying no. And maybe that's the real secret. Wealth isn't always about what you have. It's about what you choose not to have. It's about clarity, control, and the courage to walk past things everyone else is running toward. Because in the end, the richest people aren't weighed down by stuff. They're lifted by freedom.